that we serve our customers in the future needs to be more intelligent, more proactive, to follow more and more the natural language interface.
Guidewire is helping us to leverage the AI strategy for personalizing our recommendations. The quoting that we have with Guidewire connects with different AI algorithms. This positions us to innovate faster, to personalize more.
Guidewire enables us to work smart in a number of different ways. One of them is where they have AI now in the platform and where it's going. It's not really a function of whether or not AI is going to transform the insurance industry. It's really about how insurance companies are going to use AI to transform themselves.
Please welcome Guidewire's Chief Executive Officer, Mike Rosenbaum.
Hey, everybody. So let me just start by saying welcome to Las Vegas and welcome to Connections. What a cool theater experience we have here. Isn't it amazing? And yeah, this is a first for me. This is pretty scary, actually. Super stressful. It's like my favorite day of the year, but also my most stressful day of the year. And now we have 4 levels of balconies to be stressed about. So I was talking to some folks in the elevator. I don't know, nobody really knows this, but like we contracted to do the event here actually before the hotel was built. And we worked it out with the people who designed the hotel to make it super complicated to get from breakfast to we wanted them to go on an escalator and then an elevator and turn left and turn right because we wanted it to feel like implementing Policy Center. There you go, okay? But the message is that it ends up working out great, okay? So this is gonna be a great presentation. This is gonna be a great week. Here we are, it all worked out. All right, let me start the presentation. I always start saying thank you, okay? Thanks obviously for coming to the event, but I think I genuinely speak on behalf of everybody at Guidewire when I say that we have a tremendous amount of gratitude and we owe you all thanks for the opportunity to work on this platform on behalf of this industry. I think, we like to think that what we do matters, what we do is important, and I think you should know that we believe that what you do is important. What you do matters. What you do plays this incredible role in the world, and it's often underappreciated, so we just wanted to say thank you, okay? Our mission in all of this hasn't changed in 25 years. I don't expect it'll change for 25 more. We exist to create a platform you can trust, to create the agility you need to innovate, to engage with customers in new ways, to create new product lines, to expand your product lines into new states and new channels, to grow your organizations efficiently, operate at great combined ratios. This is what we do. It's not going to change. And in 25 years, this is what we've created. I often get told I should, be more confident, be more cocky. That actually nobody tells me to do that. But I am very proud of, and I hope everybody here in this audience, Guidewire employees, but also partners and also customers, should be very proud of the fact that we together have created the world's leading platform for insurance. We shouldn't be bashful about recognizing that, right? We've created the platform services and the application services and the applications you need and the marketplace you need to genuinely operate the insurance industry more effectively. And it's been a lot of hard work, right? But the net result is now over 500 customers across 43 countries. I think genuinely, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2, every single country where property casualty insurance is practiced, we have a customer. everywhere in the world operating Guidewire. And that, this 150 cloud go lives, which means there's now 150 instances of Guidewire Cloud running in production on behalf of all of you. This is amazing. I remember when I first joined Guidewire over 6 years ago, and I think we had 3. And we said, oh man, it is going to be a lot of hard work to get to 10. We're like, I hope we get to 10. And then we said, okay, we got to 10, we need to get to 20. But then it starts to build, and you get to 50, and you can say, oh, we're going to get to 100. Well, we're now at 150, and this is certainly going to get to 300. It's probably going to get to 500. But then I want to be a little bit of a nerd and talk about the cloud environments and the 2,400 cloud environments. And I also remember a conversation that I had with a customer about how many production, or how many, let's call it production instances, little Guidewires we were going to need. And we said, oh, we have this many total customers, so multiply by 3, so probably we'll need about 1,000 instances of Guidewire. And I said, no, we're going to need tens of thousands of instances of Guidewire. Because moving this system to the cloud and creating the ability to create what I like to say is like these little ephemeral instances relates to our ability to empower developers, to empower partners, to empower all of you to go fast, to execute and to innovate. And so that number, and that number continuing to grow, is what shows me that we're on the right track. And I would say, like, this is Connections. Once a year, we have an opportunity to see what it looks like to be a Guidewire partner, to see the power of the community and the power of the ecosystem up in the pavilion. It's just super motivating to me, right? That we now have over 200 technology partners, 500 marketplace applications, 41 consulting partners, and 28,000 certified consultants, all of which I think have, in one way or another, bet their careers on Guidewire. And so this is kind of what the story looks like in numbers. This is what the story looks like in logos. And this is always my favorite thing to do, is ask our creative team to painstakingly steal all of your logos and stick it on a slide. It's an incredible pain in the neck for them to do, but I really think it's amazing. Obviously, I'm going to turn around and look at it. So I'll give you 10 seconds to try to find your company up there. Thank you very much for permission to use your logo. But like, this is pretty amazing, what we've created together, and I think we should all be very proud of it. And so at this phase of this presentation, which I've now given a few times, we typically pivot to cloud, and we talk about cloud capabilities. And our cloud journey is not yet done, for sure. We are going to remain focused on moving this industry to the cloud. But I think now we need to talk about generative AI, we need to talk about large language models, and we need to talk about what intelligence is going to do to this industry. And this is a personal statement. I can't speak on behalf of everybody at Guidewire when I say this. I think this is a miracle, okay? This idea that we've created something, a computer that thinks, but actually it doesn't think. It just tricks us into thinking that it thinks, or thinking maybe it can think. I just can't understand how this works. And I'm amazed every single time I use these tools to create an application, or to, for example, help me write a script for a speech I'm going to give at a technology conference, which I actually did, and which actually was very, very helpful, right? It's just amazing what you can do with these things. And people will say, people in positions like mine will say, hey, this is as big as the steam engine, and this is as big as the invention of the transistor, and now we all have computers, and those computers are networked, and those computers are in our pockets, and the whole world has changed, and generative AI and large language models will be as big or bigger and have a bigger influence on the world as all of those things. It's not really my job to talk to you about that. My job is to say, like, what does this mean for the insurance industry, and what does this mean for Guidewire, okay? And I've had opportunities to meet and speak with lots of technology and business executives in the insurance industry, and some of the conversations that I think are like so amazing, where they say, Mike, look, it wasn't that long ago that we actually kept track of all this stuff on a ledger. Somewhere in this building, somewhere down in the basement, is the actual ledger where we kept track of all this stuff. And then we moved it all into the filing cabinet. I met somebody or I know somebody. I had a conversation earlier this week. I won't name this woman, but she told me her first job when she was in her teens in Ireland was working in the basement of an insurance company, and her job was to receive the number of the policy that they needed to look up, and then she had to like turn the crank in order to move the filing cabinet around, in order to pull the file and send it upstairs. It's like, this is real. This is in the 90s. And so we've come a long way, right? Like, we've moved this process to mainframe computers, and we've moved this process to systems like Guidewire. And I would ask you to like picture in your head this perfect implementation of Guidewire, right? Everything is set up and running smoothly. Underwriting, policy administration, billing. We've got beautiful digital portals connecting agents, connecting your employees to this incredible experience. And your whole system is running at like, I don't know, a 92% combined ratio, and everybody's happy. And I want you to juxtapose that picture to the filing cabinet and think about how far we've come, okay? And now I want you to think, okay, large language models and generative AI actually deployed into this industry is going to have just as big an impact, just as big a delta. This is the perspective that we have of how this will change, okay? We are going to create radically different approaches to the core things that run the industry, okay? And this is like in time order sequence, our perspective of how things are going to go over time. The first thing that's going to change is development, and developer productivity is going to improve. I think we all kind of understand this now. The one tangible thing that very clearly these systems do very well is help us write code. Okay, we recognize that, we're rolling that out. We're going to do everything we can to ensure that the development teams powering your implementations of Guidewire are supported and enhanced. This is going to change. And when it does, it's going to have a dramatically positive impact on your velocity, okay? The next thing that's going to change is underwriting. And I would say, like, underwriting, I think, it's a business process that has resisted automation. It's an art form, right? We don't really want to boil it down to 3 fields that we can stick into our predictive model that gives us the price and answers the question. It's an art. It's something that requires deep assessment and study. But magically, large language models and generative AI create the opportunity for us to change the way underwriting works, and we are convinced this will happen, okay? Next, I think, is claims. And I was having a great conversation with somebody while we were wandering around the casino trying to find the theater today about claims and how this is going to take some time, okay? This is not like a snap your fingers and suddenly large language models have automated all of our claims experiences, because in the insurance industry, the stakes are higher. The ramifications of mistakes are significant, and we need to be careful. We need to be prudent. We need to learn how these systems work and learn what they can do right now. And I think iteratively, step by step by step, the claims process that we all run will dramatically change. And last but not least, and I'm not going to talk a ton about this, but I also think we should keep in our minds that customer experiences and customer and consumer expectations will change, right? We will probably be creating little robots that can talk to people, and the people can talk to the robots, and then the people will create their own robots and have their robots talk to our robots, and this is all going to happen. And we've got to be prepared for it. It's coming, right? But the big question is, and this is what you want to know from me, is, okay, exactly what's happening and how long exactly is this going to all take? And I would say, I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know. But I would say, like, if anybody does tell you they know exactly how long this is going to take and what steps to do, you should not trust them, okay? They have no idea what they're talking about. This is not true, okay? This is going to take a lot of hard work, a lot of care, and a lot of study. And I guess my point is, we're committed to making it happen, and I want to be very clear about what we think our role is in this transformation to a more intelligent insurance industry. This is the slide that we spent the most time thinking about. Like, outline Guidewire's position and strategy with respect to generative AI and large language models. And it starts with running an open and trusted core system, worldwide, Our goal, our vision is everyone running property casualty insurance in the world, no matter where you are, you should trust that that system, with generative AI or without generative AI, it's going to work. You can trust it, it's going to work. That's our primary directive, let's say. Okay? But the next thing is we need to help create what I'll call insurance-specific context. Okay? These systems are pretty useless if you just use them all by themselves, with respect to insurance. Okay? They need to be fed the data that in lots of times is in Guidewire. They need to be powered with the knowledge bases. They need to be powered with the skills. They need to have access to systems like Guidewire so that they can have the context they need in order to be able to deliver the value that we want for your end users and for your companies. That's our job. You're going to hear Diego talk about this. We're going to ship MCP servers. We're going to ship tooling. We're going to create the mechanisms that you can use to deploy these systems effectively. We're also going to create these applications ourselves. We're going to create applications to automate claims. We're going to create applications to automate underwriting. But we're going to do it in an open way. We're going to do it in a platform way. And we're going to do it in a way that brings along this ecosystem. Okay? I want to be crystal clear. We don't have an intention to do this on our own. We are not going to lock up Guidewire and try to sell you back the key. Okay? We got here. We're standing here because of the ecosystem, because of the developers, because of the consulting partners that have worked with us over the years. And this is going to be the approach and the strategy of the company going forward. I hope everybody is super motivated by this. There's lots of unknowns and lots of things to learn, and it's a complete change from probably the way that we expected, certainly the way I expected the world to go. But I think the core things that got us here are going to do very well for us going forward. Doing things as a platform, doing things in an open way, and doing things in a way that brings the community and the ecosystem along for the ride. Okay, now I need to take a deep breath. I'm going to back up in my long stage here, and I'm going to change gears a little bit. What I want to do next is I want to walk you through 4 announcements, the 4 key takeaways that I would like to make sure everybody remembers from this keynote, and everybody kind of makes a note and says, okay, I'm going to go learn something about that. I am, of course, stealing a little bit of thunder from the team, but the demos that you're going to see from them are pretty amazing, and so I don't think I'm stealing too much. So the first thing that we are excited to announce today is Pricing Center. Okay, I think a lot of you know, Policy Center customers know, that we've been on a quest for a number of years to create a great rating engine, to create a rating engine that works just amazing, okay? And I think in this kind of odyssey we've been on, you know, we kind of learned some things along the way, and then, you know, I don't know how long ago, let's say a year ago, we had this realization that in order to create a great rating engine, the secret was not actually to create a rating engine at all. The secret was to embrace the actuaries, to embrace the teams creating the pricing strategies, and in the process of creating the pricing, we could just make that the rating engine. And in the process, you get rid of this bottleneck, you get rid of this breakpoint, you get rid of this extract, you get rid of this whole headache, okay? And if we could do it built on the platform, built to integrate with our database, our data mart, our data assets, all the information running in policy and claims fed into this actuarial workbench, and we integrate it into our advanced product designer, our insurance products, this would create a system that delivered the agility you all needed to be able to execute on this incredibly important process and create the products, create the prices that enabled you to innovate and grow your organizations effectively. Okay, the second announcement I'd like to make is Underwriting Center. And again, we've been on a journey, okay, for the past year and a half or so. How do we apply generative AI and large language models to the practice of underwriting? What can we do? How can we make this work? And in the process, I think what we learned was underwriting is missing this core system. There's like this gap in the world that it's sort of been neglected. Like, why don't we have a database application optimized for underwriting, optimized for a submission workflow? If we had a submission workflow built on a platform you trust, but flexible enough to accommodate what we need to do with these large language models so that we can ingest this information and put it somewhere, that we can use large language models to evaluate the risk and prioritize the risk, that we can build that workflow in connection to the insurance product definitions that are ultimately necessary for you to be able to put this information into Policy Center or whatever terrible policy administration you guys are using besides Policy Center. We would like to talk to you about that also. But like we have this vision that just like we've done for claims and just like we've done for policy, we would like to create an industry standard around the submission process with an open platform that you can trust and you can build these agentic workflows around that will, when you need it to, seamlessly integrate into your policy administration system. All right, I told you I had 4, 2 more to go. The next one, and this is the part that I'm kind of nerdy and excited about, we are starting to actually ship the generative AI-driven services into our platform that you all need to be able to activate AI in your implementations. Now, this is like an interesting thing, and Diego will explain this in more detail. Like, we like to take a platform approach to building things at Guidewire. We like to say to the application teams, what do you want? And then we like to slow them down for months and months while we build platform services to facilitate those applications, okay? This is how we like to do. And then we expect you all to sort of decompose what we built, customize it and change it and put it over here and put it over there. And so what you're seeing from us now are these incredible tools, these agentic tools that we're going to give you. We're going to put your developers, we're going to put these tools in your developers' hands. And this, by the way, this is, I get motivated when I talk about this, like, this is why cloud is so important, right? And this is why n equals 1, and you're on the latest release because you have access to these tools now. This is really motivating for me. And so you're going to see more about this from the team, but starting to ship these generative AI services into the platform, I think is going to be a very, very big deal. Okay, number 4 is we're very excited to announce that last night, actually, before the end of the World Series game, we signed an agreement and created an intention to acquire a company called ProNavigator. And ProNavigator, where's Joseph? Joseph, congratulations. Stand up for a second. Joseph is the CEO of ProNavigator, is the founder of the company. By the way, based in Canada, you know, Toronto, so the team and the Guidewire team in Canada and Toronto is getting stronger. What they have done is, I think it's pretty amazing, okay? And they've been at this over, you know, I think 8 or 9 years working on this. And large language models, kind of in the middle of this invention of large language models really provided this boost to this company. And we saw this incredible potential to sort of like take this technology and roll it out everywhere. But the way you want to think about this is that what can we do that makes every single user of Guidewire as good as your best employee? How do we make every single person an expert? How do we take the knowledge base, the skill set, the standard operating procedures, the requirements and the training? How do we put all that into a system and stick it right next to Guidewire and the context and the workflow around which that employee is working, put a large language model on top of it, and make a chat-based interface that allows people to just talk to an expert, okay? And like, this wasn't possible 3 years ago. This was physically impossible. It didn't exist. But now that you have large language models, we can put these things together and we could create just 3 weeks and you're in production with a system that brings the power of this incredible technology, pairs it with the context provided by Guidewire and your knowledge base, and like I said, turns every single person into an expert. So we're incredibly excited and hope that you all will take us up on the opportunity to go learn a lot about this new application.